I'm starting.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Scientix webinar, How to Inspire Students for Arctic Careers, Intaros Toolkits for Schools. My name is Gergana Andonova, and on behalf of the Scientix team, I would like to thank you all for joining today. At any point, if you experience any technical issues, please write to my colleague Eleni in the chat. Please post your questions in the chat, and we will collect them and address them in the end. Today we have with us Dr. Agata Goździk, who will present us the Intaros toolkits and educational materials foreseen as a tool for promoting natural sciences to students and early recruitment of future potential polar researchers. Dr. Agata Goździk is the project coordinator of the projects EduArctic, ERIS, Odyssey, and Brightech, all educational projects in the Science Communication and Education Unit in the Institute of Geophysics, PAS. She has worked as coordinator of huge educational initiatives, both at national and European level. She has also worked as deputy director of the Department of Environmental Education in the Polish Ministry of Environment and and as director of the Science Promotion and Dissemination Department in the Polish Academy of Sciences. Currently, she leads 4 European projects in STEM education. And now, without any further ado, Agata, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. So this afternoon, I would like to present 2 toolkits prepared for secondary schools mainly. However, upper classes of primary schools could also try to use them successfully, dedicated to Arctic careers and to work in the field and conducting some monitoring measurements in the Arctic. As I was presented, I'm working at the Institute of Geophysics, Polish Academy of Sciences, and in fact we are for many years involved in various educational initiatives, and we are quite happy working on polar topics, as we've seen them inspiring for youngsters and also engaging for teachers. So this is the way we were developing various activities and various projects connecting schools and polar regions and polar research. This time I would like to present you 2 toolkits prepared within Intaros. Intaros is a project dedicated to integrated Arctic observing system. This is funded from European Union's Horizon 2020 program and is not dedicated to education. However, as part of the project, my institute had the role to develop some materials dedicated to schools. But first, I would like to introduce you a little bit to the Arctic and to the Intaros project per se. So you definitely know that the Arctic is facing tremendous changes dedicated to climate change. But what happens in the Arctic doesn't stay in the Arctic. And it means that all the changes that appear in the Arctic region also affect our lower and mid latitudes. What is needed for the Arctic is a constant monitoring of various elements of the ecosystem, like air and water temperature, but also sea ice extent, sea ice depth, and the age of sea ice, for instance. We are observing melting of the Greenland ice sheet and thawing permafrost, and all these changes are affecting the whole planet. Therefore, we may observe extreme weather, not only in high north, but also in our latitudes. Moreover, the changes are, the more rapid changes are affecting peoples living in the Arctic, and there are about 4 million people living there constantly. Plus, additionally, we have tourists and scientists working in the Arctic. So the idea of Intaros is to address the challenges of developing efficient integrated Arctic observation system by combining various monitoring systems that are already in the Arctic and having one unified network of monitoring. You have probably heard that the Arctic is warming at least twice as much as the rest of the world, but even some scientists are very surprised with high numbers. For instance, on Svalbard, where my institute has a year-round operating polar station, we are conducting measurements of various meteorological parameters over 40 years now. Every year, every day, every 3 hours, in fact. And what our scientists observed is that the rate of increase of temperature is even 6 times higher than for the rest of the globe. So Svalbard is very sensitive for what is happening in terms of climate change. I would like to take you on a short trip. I hope it will work with the voice and... Oh, sorry. Oh, one more time, let's start. This is a short trailer from the expedition by Norwegian icebreaker called Svalbard. And the team that went on this expedition were supposed to measure ocean temperature, salinity, some chemical properties of water for 2 years. So to have the long-term observations. They were also observing the influence of Atlantic water flowing into the Arctic Ocean. But let's see some nice pictures from this place to have this taste of the Arctic. Okay, I hope you had this impression of what Arctic looks like. Now we are going directly to the packages, to the toolkits that were prepared within Intaros. So the idea was to develop some materials to enhance literacy of Arctic observations, so not the general, the Arctic, but some observations and monitoring which is conducted there. So even though there are many materials dedicated to polar research, at least we were running some programs like Arctic project or Polar Star at the moment that were dedicated to to polar research and polar regions, but they were dedicated more to geography, nature, natural resources, etc., but only partially dedicated to monitoring and field works. So the two packages are bringing the gap between this part which was needed to inspire some careers maybe for those who would like to work in the Arctic. So we included real-life examples, some videos taken directly at polar stations of staff expressing and presenting their work and conditions in which they are living and working. In the educational toolkits, we have, as mentioned, 4 videos with researchers. One was taken in Greenland, is dedicated to marine monitoring, and 3 taken in our Polish polar station Hound, dedicated to mainly geophysical observations that we conduct at the station. We used also some Intaros trailers and videos graphics from the field campaigns, and we created a game dedicated for this package, a marine taboo game. Unfortunately, we will not play the game today, as we would need to split you into groups and make it more interactive and prepare in advance. But this game is a part of the toolkit, and I encourage you to use it in the classroom. I will show you the game later. We are also using some materials, products produced outside the project, like National Geographic videos, or World Meteorological Organization video, or TED lesson, and some Polarpedia resources. We also wanted to have some tasks for students, so it's not only presentation and passing the knowledge, but we want them also to be active in that. So here are some examples of what is used. So we use mind maps, quizzes, input boxes, and this marine taboo game. So the first toolkit is dedicated to terrestrial monitoring. Terrestrial, as you know, is dedicated to land, and there are variety of observations that are conducted in this package. We are concentrating on the work of meteorologists, geomagnetic observer, hydrochemists, glaciologists, geologists, geomorphologists. There are some examples of types of work conducted in that part. But we start with this toolkit with some general information about the Arctic, living conditions, and its border, because it's not that obvious where the Arctic starts and when it ends, and there are some various definitions of the Arctic. Then we want to show and convince students that this integrated observation system is crucial to understand what's going on with the whole planet. And we are showing some observations and the way of collecting data. And the main aim is to become familiar with researchers' work at Polar Station, and to think if students would like to conduct such a work in future. So there are 6 sections, as you see them here on the slides, and later on we will also show them online. So this toolkit was created on the GoLab platform, so you may preview the toolkit, but you may also duplicate this space and use it wherever you want and in the way that is most suitable for your students. So I believe this is a very nice opportunity. I will show you later on how you may use it for those who are not familiar with GoLab platform. We will easily go through some steps in order to show how it works, to duplicate the space, and then also you may use only some parts of that. Maybe not all 6 sections are necessary, or maybe you do not have enough time for 6 sections. So all these possible actions in the GoLab platform I will show also. But first, a few words about the second toolkit, the marine monitoring toolkit. Also has 6 sections. the content is dedicated to the Arctic Ocean. So first we present the importance and uniqueness of this smallest ocean. Then, as with the climate change, one of the major problems that we face in the Arctic is decreasing extent of sea ice, because it has very strong consequences for the melting sea ice due to positive feedback loop, due to decreasing albedo of the surface. So this way we may also introduce some phenomena and some physical background of how albedo works and what is positive feedback loop, which are very important terms for other subjects as well. Then we also speak a little bit about Arctic Ocean observations. We have this video taken from Greenland, Greenlandic expedition with some measurements. And also we present some parameters which are measured and could be observed within this marine monitoring. This toolkit is also available on GoLab platform. So here you see, if you write on the GoLab marine monitoring or Intaros toolkit, you will find it definitely there. So let's see how it looks on the platform. Do we have it full one? No. Okay. So this one is dedicated to marine observation. As I mentioned, we have 6 sections here. So in the first section, students are just thinking what they already know, because they definitely know about the oceans over the whole world. So they just need to drag and drop correct areas of those oceans, and once they do that correctly, they will get additional information about each of the oceans. So this is the first step. Then we have some additional information to be read by students. We have also a map showing also some passages through the Arctic Ocean. And then we have a short video which could be played directly here. I will not play the whole video as it lasts some time, but just to start to give you also
starkly white, the frozen Arctic Ocean crowns above 66 degrees north latitude. In the Arctic, above the ice and below, wildlife prospers in what might seem to be an inhospitable environment. But it's exactly what is required for polar bears, ring seals, and the snowy white beluga whales, the highly vocal canaries of the sea.
Okay, so some of them are created specifically for the packages, and some are used from good sources taken from YouTube. Then again, we have information about Arctic sea ice. This is a short animation, as this is the crucial for the Arctic Ocean at the moment. Let you see that because it's short. You see how the extent of the sea ice is changing over years, and we are experiencing a big loss, which also affects albedo. So this is important because the lower albedo we have in the polar regions, the faster the process of decreasing sea ice is. So basically, this is this positive feedback loop that is observed here. what I like about the GoLab platform, that we have everything, every source here included. So you do not need to switch among various resources, but you have it here. You may play it full screen as you saw. You may do everything inside. Okay, so why CEST is so important, and here I encourage you to use with your students an interactive chart that you have. I hope it will open. Yeah, here we have it. So on the chart, you see the extent in the current situation. So at the moment we are here. So you see that 2021 is really bad in terms of sea ice. If we compare, this is a record minimum. In 2012 we had the minimum, but of course the minimum was here. It was the worst year for the whole observation since 1979, so quite many years of observations. We have also here some median from observations days. We may check any year from this period, but we also see the current line here, and it's in almost every day below the record from 2020. So you may work on that, and you may use this chart and write down some observations. Then in the next section we have some information about marine monitoring, and here are some Intaros field activities and Intaros trailer, which you saw already at the beginning of the webinar today. And then we go to the working in the field. So in this section, we have some introductory about Greenland. So there are some fun facts about Greenland, a short animation to be watched first. And then we have this video done directly for the Intaros with one of the researchers from Greenland Climate Research Center recording this information. So let's watch it also.
I'm a senior scientist at the Greenland Climate Research Center and the Greenland Institute of Natural Resources. Today, sampling together with the Marine Bases Nuke program. It is a sub-program of the Greenland Ecosystem Monitoring Program that collaborates with the Intaros project. Some of the key parameters that we measure in the Marine Bases program includes the physical, chemical, and the biological components of the marine ecosystems.
So as you see here, we added some subtitles in parts which are important to understand what kind of parameters are measured, so that students may additionally have this help for filling in some tasks after watching the video. So I will not play the whole material, but just wanted to let you know that the most important parts are filtered in this way, and with subtitles it should be easier for students to find out the answers for some tasks. So after watching the whole video, students are asked to solve a short quiz. So they've got 3 questions here, and the quiz summarizes what they've learned in the video. Then we have a section, Let's Play, And we have here this taboo game, which I mentioned. I hope you know taboo because it's, at least in Poland, it's quite popular. So we have some cards, and in this case, all the terms are dedicated to marine monitoring and Arctic Ocean. And we have 18 Arctic terms here hidden. And the idea is that one person draws a card with a word that should be guessed and additional words that cannot be used, or any synonyms cannot be used, cannot be said, because if he says so, then it's one of the prohibited words, then they are losing this card. So for instance, let's have a look what's there. So you see some terms and some forbidden terms. And of course, if you are playing that in a traditional classroom, I mean, when you are seeing face to face, you may just print it and cut it out and distribute to some students who will be explaining the words. However, if we are in online remote learning conditions, we also suggested that students may get some, so not see the whole game, but students may get some cards of that and prepare a short recording of how they are explaining, for instance, within 30 seconds, how they are explaining the term, and then they may play that, and other students may guess as well. So there is also an option to show that, but in such a case, you will need to hide this from the resources so that students cannot see all the cards, and only send terms from 1 to 3 cards to particular students. Okay, so that's the taboo game. Yeah, so this is how we may do that in other scenario, and then they may just record it and drop the file here, so that also after the lesson you may have access to that. And there is one more section dedicated to also summarizing what was learned here. And the idea here is to imagine that they are working as scientists and they are conducting some marine monitoring in the Arctic. And they, as usual, scientists need to do to get funds for research project, they need to convince the founders that it's worth being paid for some additional measurements. So using the concept mapper built in the GovLab platform, they need to prepare a concept map that will help them to prepare for the discussion, for convincing to finance their research program. So they may use the list of parameters, but the crucial is to explain properly. So they've got here, they may use the predefined parameters that they are going to measure, like for instance here, and they may link it, with the program, and linking them, they may also decide, is it biological, chemical parameter, physical parameter is important because, and this explanation is here crucial. And a short, how did you like the activity here? Okay, and I'm coming back to the presentation so that we will also visit the terrestrial monitoring. So in the terrestrial monitoring, we concentrate on general information about the Arctic. Here you see the various borders. As I mentioned, the definition of the Arctic is not one only, so there are different terms taken into account. Some are dedicated to temperature, the other to vegetation. Some are strictly geographical, so the Arctic Circle gives this border. There is some information about living conditions in the Arctic. We have also a video here. Then a few words about some Arctic observations, about Intaros project as well, additional video on observations, and also a task for students. So in this toolkit, they need to imagine that they are an expert. They are experts who are invited to TV show, and they need to explain why is Arctic observation system important for understanding of the planet. So they are also preparing a concept map, which may help them with explaining it in a simple way, popular way, to all viewers of this TV show. Then we have working in the Arctic field section. So as we have here 3 videos taken at Svalbard, at a Polish Polar Station Hornsund. Here is the location of Svalbard. So the station is located at 76 degree north. 77, sorry, we have it here. If students are interested, they could also have a look at more information on the website dedicated to what kind of measurements are taken at the station. But if you do not have that much time, you may just watch some videos. So we have 3 videos here. First one is dedicated to meteorological observations.
Our main task as a meteorologist is, of course, to observe the weather. So we systematically collect, archive, and forward to the appropriate institution data of the meteorological condition that we observe here at our station and in its vicinity. So we collect the data on the atmospheric pressure, the air temperature, the soil temperature, the cloud cover, not only the amount of cloud cover, but also types of cloud and the altitude at which they occur. So also we assess the visibility, note all the phenomena and processes take place in the atmosphere, from precipitation to the phenomena like aurora borealis. So also we collect information about the wind direction, wind speed, amount of sunshine, and also about the humidity. So during the winter season, we measure the thickness of the snow cover and also assess the condition of the snow. What's more, in the recent years, more and more information is collected automatically. That's why we have to care for the proper operation of these devices. They don't have an easy life under this harsh condition here in Hornsund, so we have to clean them, and if it's necessary and have the search opportunities, fix what has broken down. Data is used for weather forecasting, mainly supply and verification of the mathematical weather models, and also for scientific studies in the field of meteorology, climatology, and hydrology. All this information is of great value because we have one of few year-round meteorological station in the Arctic. Greetings from Hornsund.
Okay, so here we had one video. We have also information about geomagnetic measurements inside geomagnetic house. After each, we have some very small quiz, short questions. And the final video is from a hydrochemical laboratory at the Polish Polar Station. Also, the person collecting water samples is explaining how it works in these conditions. We have also some information about other possible jobs, careers in the Arctic. So some information about glaciologists, glaciospeologists, and geologists or geomorphologists. And in the 5th section, we want to ask students to decide what would be appealing in working in the Arctic for them and what would be rather discouraging, because I believe that some concepts may seem positive to some students, but the same concepts may be negative or discouraging for others. So, for instance, we have here wild animals, and it may be fascinating for those who like to take photos or are just fascinated by wild nature. But from the other perspective, polar bears are extremely dangerous, especially on Svalbard. You need to wear guns with you, and you need to be ready to discourage polar bears to come closer to you, because they are just may want to hunt on you. So this way they may organize the concept. So again, here is the concept map, and we have some predefined conditions here. So for instance, cold environment, and students should think, do I like it, or it's rather discouraging? Or distant from home. Sometimes it may be quite nice because we are away from the problems at home, but for many people who miss the family, it's a great problem to decide on such a long stay in the Arctic. So we have a list here, and for every working outdoors, for instance, we may decide that it's positive, but because we are working out. However, it could be also negative for some people. So each student needs to decide what particular parameter is for particular person. Okay, and they may also want to discuss the findings with other colleagues. And for this, you may divide them into groups, and they may share their opinions. And then after discussing in the group, they may prepare a short paragraph, short text explaining why they would like, or why not they wouldn't like, why they wouldn't like to be a researcher in the Arctic. And in the wrap-up session, we have a small quiz named the frame. So you just need to drag and drop names of various careers in the Arctic and what is this person doing based on the information got in previous sections, and how did you like the activity short quiz, collecting feedback for us. And I also told you that that you may, so I will show you how to duplicate the space and how to use it from the GoLab. So I'm just going to the GoLab platform, and in the search tool, I'm writing marine monitoring. Of course, in my presentation, you have the links, so I will show them at the end to have it directly, but it's very easy to find it. And once you've got this, you have here the short description, information on the age, and how much it takes to do that. You may preview, but preview is the same what we did a moment ago. But you may decide to duplicate space. And if you have an account on GoLabs, and it's easy to create it. So I will just, okay. Then it's asking about my account that I have. If you do not have, then it will ask you to register. My internet connection is slow. But I hope it will allow me to go. Oh, now it should work. Okay, so I duplicated this to my private space. What I have here is additionally, I have here this about. Oh, no, sorry, I got, teacher's guidelines, here it is. So here in the teacher guidelines, you have additional information which is hidden for students. So students will not see that, as we haven't seen that as well when I was showing you this preview. But here you've got some additional information in a form of teacher's guidelines, so that for each section you have some suggestions on how to use it. In terms of, you've got links to videos and estimated time needed. And in case there are some questions or some tasks to be solved, also there are answers to be found here. So it's useful for you, and students are not seeing this part. So you have here all these sections described. And also, if you go to the toolkit, we have all these sections that I showed you, but in this time we see them, how it looks. So you may also decide on having, if you change the view, you may decide to hide some parts. So for instance, if I hide it, then students are not able to see that part. So if you want to ask them more questions and not necessarily give them answers, you may hide some parts, or you may also decide to set as hint. So then they do not see that directly. They need to click on the pin and see more information. It's very useful if you want to ask some questions first and then let them read the text. And the same goes with this taboo, which I mentioned that you may decide to hide it. So here it is. If we hide it, then they are not able to see. So not every student may see that. So you may share with those leading students that will be presenting the terms, the full toolkit, and you may, because you may duplicate the spaces as many times as you want. So you may basically use it for various classes or various students even. And also, once you duplicate it here, you may share it with your students by sending short link, for instance. And yeah, in fact, if you want, it would be great if you could have a try and fill some task inside, because then I may see your progress, and this is also a very useful part of GoLab platform, that I may see your progress on various sections and various tasks. So I would like to ask you now for really 2-3 minutes to type this part in your browser and try to do anything in the first section, for instance. There is a nice exercise with drag and drop the areas of each ocean. So this is an easy exercise, like a warm-up. So if you could go to that, I will let you see the link for some time still, and then I will show you what I may see as a teacher. Because now we are pretending that I'm your teacher and you are my students. So I will show you how you may check the progress of your students, or if you decide to have it as a homework, for instance, then you may also assess the progress easily. So I hope anyone that would like to have a try managed to type this information. If not, I will show you in a moment again. And here we can, oh, not yet. So one more time. I would like to ask you to really have a try, because this is the only way I may show you what teachers may get out of it in terms of checking the progress of students. So if any one of you could use this link, type it in the browser.
Agata, could you please share the link in the chat? Maybe it's easier for us to post in the chat.
Okay, I'm not sure if I managed to. Yeah, I would need to stop sharing probably. I'm not sure if anyone can see on chat or only on question and answers. Because I've sent that already, so could you confirm that? Okay, great. So I will give you 2 minutes. Meanwhile, if you have any questions, I may try to answer them. And in a moment, once I have some users, in fact, I see 2 people at the moment. So great, thank you very much. So I will share in a moment the results, but it's really worth trying because then you know how to use it. And this technical part is also important. Okay, so I hope you see now again my screen with, so I changed from sharing, here I got this short link, to members, you see it here. And now I see many names. Thank you very much, that's really great. So I hope you don't mind if I use one of the names. And we may review what Anna Maria was presenting here. So in a moment we will see if the exercise was done, then I would see the answers here, but there are no answers, maybe in some other parts. Of course, we may see only those parts which were filled in. So for instance, if here we would have anything written by Anna Maria, we would have it. As we do not know which parts were done, I will try again with the map of the oceans. No. So maybe we will try with another person. Oh yes, thank you very much for this. So you see that the drag and drop exercise was done. It was done correctly, and once it's done correctly, we have also here some additional information, short, but about every ocean there is some additional text to be read. So basically, you see that. I know that the student A did the first section. We may also check other sections. Nothing was written here, but if it was something, I asked you for the first section, so it's totally understandable. But if you have any here more, then I would see that also. So this is the way you may check. You may see how many users of this particular toolkit we have, and also how advanced they are. So if you are using this toolkit during the classes in remote learning, you may check it just directly at the same time. So they are working and you see how advanced they are. If you want to have it for homework, you may also check it later. So anytime I come here, I may check how advanced particular students are. So this is really convenient. I hope you will use that in classrooms. And you may play, after the webinar today, you may play with both toolkits. You may want to. At the moment, using this link, you play as students, so you are not duplicating. You do not need to have any account on Grasp. You are just using what was prepared. If you decide to register on Grasp on GoLab, then you will have additional options like hiding, setting as a hint, or using only one section of the whole toolkit. So it's then up to you, and you also see the student's performance only if you have a registered account here. So, but if you do not want to register anywhere, you may also just use the preview. Here is information that do not use this in your class, but create your own account. But if you decide to just delete this part, oh, sorry, too much was deleted probably. Oh no, okay. So then you've got this view as students have. So you may, for instance, broadcast this if in remote learning, or just show on the screen in the classroom, and do the exercises together on the multimedia screen. Okay, that's all from my side. Thank you very much. I will show you at the end the final slide with, no, maybe the pre-final, with the links to the toolkits. Here they are. I hope to publish them soon in the Scientix repository as well, but it's easy to find them on the GoLab platform, so I hope you will be able to use them. Thank you very much, and I think it's time for questions.
Thank you very much, Agata. It was very informative, and also the viewers were very enthusiastic, and we had quite a lot of comments of appreciation. For example, just to give you a few, one participant, Alina, she wrote, the learning materials are amazing. They can also be used with younger students because they're intuitive and raise awareness on the global warming problem. So thank you so much for sharing. And another user, Emine, she wrote, this is just inspiring. I wish I was a student right now. So everyone was very enthusiastic, and they really appreciated the tools. And we have a few questions for you. One of them is, what are the most characteristic and more needed professions for someone interested in the Arctic and sustainability?
So, for instance, in our station, we have announcement for people working there every year, and we have a variety of professions. Even a cooker could go for some summertime when we have a really crowded station full of researchers from the whole world. So even some professions that are not obvious may also work at the stations. But of course, from our perspective, people who are wanted most are meteorologists, geophysics, seismologists, rather geography or physics students. However, some technicians or engineers are also welcome. So I would say that it's depending on the interest of the person. I would say there are really many opportunities to start the adventure on polar research.
Of course, thank you very much, Agata. And we have another question sort of related to the previous one, where one viewer is asking which subjects should students focus on if they want to pursue a career related to the Arctic and sustainability.
Yeah, so I would say that depending on the country, we have various subjects, but science in Poland it's geography, definitely physics, but also some technical or even informatics, TI classes. We have one person dedicated to some internet connections and all these connections with various networks. So variety of jobs. But if you want to work as a researcher, then I would say geography, physics, chemistry, and science, if you have science in your country, because in Poland only some small part of curriculum is dedicated to science as a whole.
I see, thank you. And you already gave quite some information on this, but we had a question a bit earlier on if you need an account on GoLab to download the materials in the toolkit, and if there are also different types of accounts for students and teachers.
Yeah, so basically, if you want only to share the view, then you do not need to do anything and you don't need to register. If you want to have more options, then I recommend to register as a teacher and then use it also to have this access to analytics about students' work. But for students, no registration is needed. So they are just giving nick when they name or name and surname or nick or number from the list of the class. So anything that teachers want them to put there. And basically they are just using them in the browser. So no registration for students, so no accounts, no permissions from parents, etc. So it's really easy.
No, that's great, really, thank you. And we have another question. Is there a permanent base that can be followed by social media or a website to follow the work of scientists in the Arctic?
So our Polish Polar Station Hornsund is having a fan page on Facebook, and they are sharing news in Polish and in English. So it's possible to follow us there. I also know that the Antarctic Station, also run by Polish Institute, also shares all posts in Polish and English. So if you are interested in penguins, then go to the Antarctic, and if polar bears are of your interest, then the Hornsund stations could be followed.
Thank you. And we have one final question, I think. One teacher was asking if you would mind sharing the PDF with the viewers.
Sure, of course. I sent the PowerPoint presentation to European Schoolnet, so if you could just share with participants this presentation, I would be happy, because the more people are using the toolkits, the better.
Of course, thank you. And we have a few minutes left, so I don't know if you wanted to show a few links in the end for the toolkit.
Yeah, so I will just put the slides with links. And I encourage you to start and see how it works for you. Any comments would be great. If you have some suggestions or just feedback, how students like that, that would be great to hear from you as well.
Thank you. And we have a few more comments from our viewers. One viewer said that my students from the Edo Arctic 2 group will be very happy to use this task platform. So I see that a lot of people are very enthusiastic about it, and I wanted to share with you.
That's really nice. Great. Thank you very much for these comments.
And I think we're almost out of time right now. So thank you very much, Agata, for this amazing presentation. And thank you everyone who joined today's webinar. And we hope to see you in our next one. And I wish you a very great evening. Thank you everyone, and goodbye.
Thank you very much for this opportunity to share with teachers.
Thank you, Agata.